what's going on, guys? It is an episode of Between the Ropes, which we haven't done in God knows how long. Not through any fault of our own. It's pay-per-views that tend to stop us from doing it. So lots of pay-per-views going on, lots of wrestling going on. And we are obviously excited to be here. It's been a long time, and man, I'm ready to go. This is going to be a great show. We have a ton of stuff to talk about. A full boat on the plan that Jeff made, and just a ton of stuff going on. So as I said on Thursday, and I'll say it every day, wrestling has just been a hell of a lot of fun lately. So much going on, so much to talk about, and we have with no lack of that tonight too, Jeff. So it's gonna be a fun night, man. We got a good show cooked up here.
Yeah, we do. And I want to start off by saying this. I just got this thing when we were going live, but apparently we can't go live on X anymore because you have to have a subscription. You have to pay for it to go live. So we will not be going live on X probably for a little bit, if at all. So if you run into folks that normally watches there, tell them, let them know we're on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch, but not X. So thank you, Elon Musk.
They must have just done that too, because we were just on there a couple days ago, right? On
Thursday.
For the Thursday. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. He's something else, that guy. Well, yeah, sorry about that, guys. I know a lot of people watch there. And unfortunately, he wants his money now too, to get you to watch people's streams like ours and everybody else's. So kind of sucks. But yeah, if you do know any of those people that normally watch us there, pass the word along. Let them know that they no longer can. They're going to have to come over to the YouTube channel and check us out on YouTube. So, oh man, unreal, unbelievable. Always something new. But look, I want to start. I want to start the show a little bit on a different note here. First of all, I'm sure, listen, all of you overseas and who else have heard of the stuff that happened yesterday. I just want to start the show by saying that our thoughts and our prayers go to the victims, the people who passed away. It was very sad reading about the daughter who lost her dad in this, who seemed like a very good guy. He was a firefighter, and the man like literally threw himself on top of his daughter and in front of his wife to protect them from the bullets. And he died. So very, very sad. And, so I want to start with that. I think that I know some people had mentioned some celebrities that have died. A lot of people died over this weekend, man. It was, sad. As Shannon Doherty, Richard Simmons, Dr. Ruth, they all passed away. But I mean, this gentleman in particular was doing something extremely heroic, and and saved his daughter and his wife, and just very sad that this stuff has to happen. So I just want to start off with that, just a little bit of a tidbit there to just let everybody know that obviously our thoughts and prayers go out to them, and I can't even imagine what they're feeling today. So yeah, so all right. We will get into it here. I will welcome those who are here. It's going to be a smaller crowd because a lot of the people that are here are from Twitter usually. So, we've got Brandon Wayne Lewis. We have Clown. We have Tazzy in the house. What's up, Tazzy? Christopher Hassan, John G, Derek Fleming. What's up, Derek? James Chadwick is too depressed to sleep, so I'm here. What's up, James? We have... oh man, Jason Peace, John G. R.I.P. Jacoby. My father knew him, and so did I. Oh yeah, the wide receiver from the Ravens. Yeah, that's another one. Like that. There's just been a lot of people who passed this weekend. I don't know. It's just been a lot. Barry Monkey, Chad Schrader, John G. James says, "I'm here, but I'm pissed." He's pissed and he's tired. That's not two good things to be. We got Edward Brown, the baddest on the planet. Hello to you. Damian Robinson. Hello, Damian. Conrad's here. What's up, Conrad? How are you? James Chadwick's telling Elon to, you know what? Jason Peace, Hassan, Brandon Wayne Lewis. I think Alexa Blix Gamer 0809 is here. What else? Chad Schrader. I think I might have gotten everybody here. Damian Robinson, Chad, Jason. Yeah, I think I did. Okay. So, Jeremy Dunderman. Welcome, Jeremy. He came and got a little bit late, but welcome to Jeremy. Obviously a member of the channel. Thank you so much for being a long-time member of the channel. We appreciate you. And yes, you'll see right up on the board there, that is our schedule for this coming week. Tuesday, it's Fireflies Forever, which will be 6 o'clock p.m. It looks as if that we are getting a Eric Rowan interview, at least according to the Twitter, Jeff. That's going to be really sad. I really believe that is going to be a hard one to watch.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, we all know what Eric Rowan's gone through. You know, Bo obviously lost his brother. Eric Rowan lost two very good friends in Brody Lee and of course in Bray Wyatt. So I think his is going to be the hardest to listen to. And it looks as if that's what we're getting on Monday. So we'll cover all that and more on Tuesday, along, of course, with Chris for Fireflies Forever at 6 o'clock p.m. So make sure to come and join us. We'll probably have some artwork and stuff like that too, and all that good stuff. So join us then. Thursday is TNA. Of course, we'll be here for TNA on Thursday. And that is the go home show already for Slammiversary. So we are right around the corner. And then this coming week, obviously, Saturday is Saturday, right, Jeff? Slammiversary?
Yeah, Saturday.
So we'll be on Thursday and on Saturday, of course, for Slammiversary. Just remember that you do have to purchase that one. It is one of the bigger ones. So you will have to get it from wherever you decide to do so if you're going to watch along with us on Saturdays. So big week for the insiders. We've got a lot of stuff going on, as does the wrestling world itself. So, all right, Jeff, what do we have to start with?
All right, so I guess we can start with any breaking news if we have any breaking news other than the two WWE folks that wrestled over in Japan.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like there's some news going on that's not necessarily breaking right away, but there's a lot of buzz, Jeff, around. There's a lot of buzz around certain wrestlers, right? Julia, and who's the? Oh my God, the other woman's name. I don't remember. Her name is hard for me to remember for some reason, but I know a lot of people have been talking about her as well.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. My brain is just there. You go.
Who mentioned it? Yeah, Stephanie Walker. Is that how you pronounce it? Walker is being talked about. And Jeff, the Motor City Machine Guns waved goodbye to the indie crowd when they left their last match on the indies, and there's a lot of buzz about that. Where are they going to end up? Are they going to come to? A lot of people said the offers were between AEW and WWE. Stephanie has signed with WWE. Nice. So. Who knows? I mean, maybe the Machine Guns end up in the main roster of WWE. Maybe they end up in NXT. Don't know, or they could end up in AEW. We don't really know. But a lot of buzz going around about some signings that it looks like, maybe both companies, maybe one company are going to make here. And the thing about that is, Jeff, that's something with the old regime that we didn't used to see a lot of. We didn't used to see a lot of free agents signed midway through the years, through the the wrestling year, not around the draft and stuff like that. So it is a little odd to see that from WWE.
Yeah, but it's a new day in WWE. So
yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, so seeing AJ Styles and Io Sky wrestling in Japan, that's new. That's something that wouldn't have happened before. So. Good to see that kind of stuff happening. So, because I think a lot of times what happened in the past with WWE is it became its own silo, and folks who are fans of WWE primarily really didn't get outside of that bubble. So, being able to see, WWE stars going to Japan, seeing NXT working with TNA and some of those other things, it's really a good time, and it shows that things have changed quite a bit.
Yeah, man, it really is. The wrestling landscape is really changing, and look, it's changing for the better, and it's changing for the good of the fans. If any of you saw that documentary, of course, about Mania, that was changed for the good of the fans. And I can tell you, it's been so long since we've been here, we didn't even get a chance to talk about that, Jeff. But I'm wondering if you agree. But I would say, Jeff, that if it was the old regime and that was going on, that main event would have never been changed. That main event would never have been changed.
No.
So
not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, there's no way. It would have gone on to be what it was, and would have disappointed a lot of fans. And that old regime just didn't give a damn, unfortunately. So it is very different. The landscape is changing, and that's good. It's good for all the companies. It's good for all of wrestling, and it's great for us who are wrestling fans. And I'm excited about, all the shows. Raw, honestly, is I get most excited for that show now weekly from WWE. It's not that I don't like SmackDown. I just think Raw just has that many more storylines that gets that. And I'll segue that because we have that for another segment. But yeah, this has just been fun, and it's great to see all this stuff going around and all this. Instead of a lot of times, Jeff, we get a lot of bad news or bad reports and stuff like that over the weekend. It hasn't been that way. It's been a lot of positive stuff, which is very cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. All right, so that is our breaking news section, and we're going to move on, Jeff. So what's our first topic for the night?
Yeah, so we're going to go to the news now, and we're going to start utilizing these things because
there you go. Little breaking news.
I made them, so
nice.
So we'll go with the this. I'm trying to find. There we go. Here we go.
And his name is John Cena.
I love it. I love it. Well, listen, guys, this was one of the biggest announcements that came from the pay-per-view, but also that just rang throughout the wrestling world. John Cena has announced his plan for retirement. He is going to, I think I heard him say, and he was interviewed afterwards, if anybody watched the post show, and he clarified some things that he said. People just kind of thought that he meant he was just going to be at WrestleMania and maybe one or two pay-per-views, but that's not the case. He said he wants to do like 50 or 60 dates. So I'm guessing that this is going to be somewhat of a farewell tour. And John is going to go to, I know I am going to watch closely. If they come to Wilkes-Barre, I'm gonna try to go, and I'm sure a lot of other people will as well, because it'll be the last time that audience will see him wrestle. So this is going to be big. And you know what, Jeff? What I love about this is he's still young enough where he doesn't have to retire. He doesn't have to retire because he's not injured. He's not, he's not struggling. And I do believe that this is it for him. I do believe he will stick by his word. I know many wrestlers say they retire and then they come back, Ric Flair and others. But I do believe this is it for John. I really do, because he's got acting to do. He's got all this stuff in the DC universe now that's just getting bigger and bigger, and things that he wants to do. And I also think, Jeff, and you could tell me what you made of this comment, but he did mention wearing a suit. He mentioned, I'm going to be seen in a suit from now on, not my wrestling gear. Does he want maybe a little stake in that company, the Anthem thing, kind of like The Rock did, right? Does he want a little bit to do with that? Is he going to sit on that board along with The Rock? He'd be another perfect person to do it. But yeah, this is going to be cool. I don't know what's going to come of it. I would imagine, Punk already mentioned facing him, right? That's going to be iconic. Those two have had some amazing matches. That could even happen in a major pay-per-view. The thing is, Jeff, and I'll ask you this, do they give him that historic title? Do they let him win that last title? If I'm correct, he beats Ric Flair at that point, right?
He'd be at number 17.
Yeah. So do they get him in the title picture, and do they have him win the title that one last time to beat that amazing record of Flair? Or is it a thing where it's like, maybe John himself is like, nah, I'm Ric Flair is amazing. I'm good. I don't need to do that. So So yeah, Jeff, what do you think of all this, man? I think it's cool that he gets to walk out on his own terms. I think it's going to be exciting for the WWE fans and everybody that gets a chance to see him on this. And also, we're going to get some pretty awesome matches, I think, too.
Yeah, I think I'm again. I've got to be honest. Early on, I wasn't the biggest Cena fan,
Mm-hmm.
but I get it and I understand it and I appreciate him. Hearing some of the stories that I've heard and read and different things over the last couple of years about what he's done for talent, it speaks a lot to some of the accolades and the personal things that people say in terms of how nice of a guy he is and how he's an open book and that kind of thing. Again, when you look at wrestlers and you talk about the word retirement, many times it's because they're forced to retire. And he's able to walk out on his own terms. He's got a great thing going with Peacemaker and all of that. So I see that continuing to happen. He'll get more roles in Hollywood. By the way, not just because we're talking about him, but if you haven't seen Ricky Stenicki, pretty freaking hilarious. So go check that out. But no, I think that, and I actually said this earlier because someone brought up, do you think they'll get him to 17? I don't think so right now, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen because he could absolutely win a title, carry it for a month or so, and then put somebody over. I mean, that's a possibility. I don't know, again, if that's what he's looking to do, if that's what they're looking to do, because if you think about it, it's real top heavy in WWE. There are a lot of people that you could argue should get a shot at the title at some point. And I don't know that he wants to take that spot away, but if it's done in a way where he elevates one of those folks, then they could absolutely do it. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with him. I would love for them to at least attempt to turn him heel. I don't think that,
Man.
yeah, I don't think they'll do it, but I would love it if they did.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do for him. And I've had a lot of people say, I had a lot of people say, man, I didn't realize that it was that big of a deal because this stuff has been on CNN. It's been everywhere in terms of him announcing his retirement. So I'm looking forward to see what they do with him. I think it'll be a lot of fun, like you said, Joe.
Yeah, I agree. SB should give him the icon award next year's show. I'm glad he gets to do it on his own terms. It's so rare in sport of wrestling when that happens. I feel like Jeff, I could say good and bad, but I hope his fans enjoy the run. Cena did something nice for a friend of mine. I mean, he does all those Make-A-Wish things. Like, I think he's the biggest person or the person who has donated the most of his time in history to Make-A-Wish. I mean, that's something. I watched a video on him where he literally got this Make-A-Wish thing, and he got in a plane and traveled, I want to say like 13 or 14 hours to meet this person, and then went all the way back the same day. So 26 hours of flying to meet a person with Make-A-Wish for just however long he's been with them, which, could have been an hour, less than an hour, whatever. That's pretty nice. I mean, he has his own life and things like that. And yeah, I mean, that's saying something about the person that he is. And so, yeah, look, and like Jeff, I've never been a huge, when he was doing the whole rap thing at the very beginning, I couldn't stand this dude. He got on my nerves, man. I was like, want people to just deck him. The times that he was a heel and he was so cocky at the beginning, I was like, dude, like he reminded me so much of Vanilla Ice, the rapper from the 80s, that like I was like, oh my God, man, just get him out of here. And so I wasn't the biggest fan of him either. And he talked about it. Even he still kind of expects some fans to say Cena sucks. because that's how it was for the longest time. The audience is so polarized by him. So many, it seemed like a lot of younger kids loved him. But then the other ones were like, Cena sucks. I mean, and it would go back and forth. So very, very polarizing wrestler. And he was always, I don't know. He was always that way. And I think he played on it. But one thing I will say, Jeff, is I think he was probably a perfect person or a persona in the Attitude Era. I think that I don't know that he would have made it if it was any other era the way he did, because he just fits so well into that theme.
Yeah. He it's crazy seeing his evolution too, going from the first time that he came out and challenged Kurt Angle and did the whole ruthless aggression thing, and then you get the Doctor of Thugonomics, and then what he became with the whole hustle, loyalty, and respect, and all of that. And I mean, it's wild. It's really wild to see, man. It really is. We're old enough, Joe, to have seen the entirety of it.
How about that? It's not very often you'll get to see that. You'll get to say that about a wrestler. Yeah. I mean, I found we both, Jeff and I, when we did that tribute to The Undertaker, it was the same thing. We both saw his entire run from the time he started until now. And I know a lot of people probably didn't, because you weren't watching wrestling in like the late 80s, early 90s, some of you. So it is hard to say that, but yeah, it's crazy. And look, he's probably in shape. Especially for the movies and stuff, he has to keep in shape. He's probably in shape enough where if he wanted to, he could drag this out. If he wanted to go on into his late 50s and stuff like that and stick around. But he made his decision, and I respect that, and I think it's cool. So, Sean Suslitz, hello, how are you? Last run is about all giving back to the fans who stood by him from day one, and giving back to the company that made him by helping and building the new generation. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I agree. Cena's my all-time favorite. Has been since 2009 when I first watched wrestling when I was like 5. He's my idol. He's my hero. He's like family, even though I haven't met. And he follows me on X. That's awesome. Yeah, I know he picks a lot of people to follow when they respond to his comments and stuff like that. So that's cool, man. That's amazing. He did evolve over the years. Good for him, and good creativity. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Jeff, would be shocked if he didn't end up on the opening show on Netflix.
For sure.
On Raw, definitely John will definitely be on. I wouldn't doubt it if he let off the show with this. So yeah, but I'm old enough to see the entire careers of Taker, Triple H, HBK, Cena, Batista, and so many more.
Same.
Right?
Same.
Me too. Me too. He follows me too, I think. Awesome. Hello, A. Jobson, Terrence, any of you who have just come in, hello to all of you. All right, Jeff, what do we got next on the news list here?
All right, so we go from John Cena to someone who he, in his own words, cooked a while back. The Bloodline. They're the new Bloodline. This group is like vicious, man, and they just went after Cody on Friday and made him watch them just absolutely wreck Randy Orton. So these dudes are something else.
Yeah, like, I mean, you're just seeing, and I talked about this many times on this show, but you're just seeing that evolution of that whole gangster story where, the old guard is gone, the new guard comes in, the new guard is always more violent, always more brutal than that old, the older guy that had been in charge, and they have no rules. Roman broke rules often when it was to his advantage in the ring, but Roman had rules. These guys don't. There are no rules. Their only rules are pain, and that's exactly what they're doing. Like Jeff said, they are now a thorn in Kevin Owens' side, in Randy's side, and of course back in Cody Rhodes' side. This must feel like Cody's riding a merry-go-round because he's right back on the same thing that he was on before.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I know where this is leading. I would bet. I don't think we got the announcement yet, anyway. But I would bet it's going to be Solo and Cody for the title SummerSlam, and you're probably wondering well, how the hell is he going to get out of there with the title when all these guys are there? Obviously he'll have Randy and KO, but I'm pretty sure, Jeff, that is when we will get the return of Roman Reigns, and he possibly will cause Solo and these guys to lose during that match. And who knows, Jeff, we may also get the return of Jimmy, and maybe Jay even shows up for this too. But I do believe, and it'll definitely be the return of Paul Heyman as well. How they could do it too, Jeff, is they could maybe bring just Roman in, have him accompanying Paul down to the ring, make it seem like they're kind of out there to maybe support these guys, and then Roman just goes in there and just decks them in the ring. So, but I would imagine that that's going to be what it's going to be, and maybe this will lead to something else at Survivor Series. I don't know, but yeah, Jeff, these guys are just brutal. Like it is just brutality that they're handing out. They are taking no prisoners. They don't care about anyone saying anything. Obviously all this has his hands full, but they are just absolutely brutal. And it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. And poor Cody and KO are just stuck right back in this bloodline feud again.
Yeah. And Joe, I got to ask you this. Since you didn't see Jacob Fatu a lot before this, what are your first impressions of Jacob Fatu and how he's fitting into this?
He's so hard to describe. Like, all I can think of, Jeff, is a freight train. He just keeps going. Like you don't just like, I'm watching this last week, and like the guy just doesn't stop. So how can you beat a guy that doesn't stop? You might think you have him beat down a little bit. He might be down in one of the corners. The next thing you know, he pops right back up and he's flying right back at you. Like he's almost like a horror character in that respect. Like, I'm a big fan of Jason. He's almost like Jason. You put him down, next second you look over and he's right behind you.
Right back up.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, I haven't seen him much, and man, he just does not stop. And so, yeah, they to me, I don't know. I mean, Jay and Jimmy, no disrespect to either one of them. They're great wrestlers. But, man, dude, if Roman had these guys on his team, I don't know how anyone would have stopped him. He may still have that belt today and may have it for another 5 or 6 years because I just don't know how. And that's the scary part. If Solo does happen to, if I'm wrong, and Solo happens to beat Cody, I just don't think they take it off of him that soon. But if he does happen to beat Cody, how in the hell is someone getting around these? How are they getting around these guys who have already pledged their loyalty to Solo? So, man, this is again, I say wrestling is must-see TV for certain storylines. This is certainly one. I think they had to build it a little bit, and I think the Paul Heyman thing really put it over for them, beating up Paul. I think that's really got people interested. But yeah, this is they are a deadly bunch, and I don't know how this is going to. I'm reminded of the Mr. T line in Rocky 3, and he just goes, what are you gonna? Something about feel pain, and that's kind of what it is.
What's your prediction?
What's your prediction? That's what it was. What's your prediction? Pain. That's exactly what this is, man. It's just like, I mean, look at Cody hanging between the ropes up there, like a sacrificial lamb up there on the ropes. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think they're gonna need a little bit more. They're gonna need something else to try to fight off these guys. And man, if Cody goes it alone against these 4 men at SummerSlam, I honestly don't know how he's gonna get out of that. So
honestly, after Roman left, I feel like they kind of hit a lull with the bloodline. And I think over the last month or so, for me at least, that's when it's really turned around. I'm like, oh, okay, this is where they're going. I like this. They're turning the corner on the story. So they're upping the violence, upping the brutality, which if you look at Roman and how he carried himself and how he conducted business with the bloodline, it was very cerebral. It was all about strategy.
Yes.
And you got Heyman doing his thing, and Now it's just all about vengeance and brutality and just beating you down, and just they're doing a great job. I think I really do think they're doing a great job, and Jacob Fatu is a freaking monster. That's just all you can say about it.
Yeah, he really is. He really is. James said, me and Jeff has already said if Jacob Fatu made it to WWE, they're going to be big trouble in their hands. That man is an effing beast. I do like this version of the Bloodline. Solo is very intimidating. I'll be in SmackDown this Friday in Omaha, says Derek. Nice. Can't wait to see Jacob Fatu. But is Jacob really – well, that's the thing. All these – that's a great point, James. He says, but is Jacob really with Solo? That's the thing. Anytime you have four men like this of different minds and all have different power, right? How long is it until it just implodes? Where, the one brother wants to take out the other, and this wants to take out that, and this one doesn't like the way one person is doing things and wants to do things on their own. So it's a great point. And it's, again, it's all part of that whole story that they've been telling for a long time now, that whole gangster mob kind of mentality. They never end up staying together in a group because all the egos end up finding their way out of it. And I have no doubt that something like that's going to probably happen here eventually. I think it'll take a little while, but something like that is gonna rear its ugly head at some point too. So, but yeah, this is for sure the thing to watch on SmackDown for the men's side of it anyway. And it's going to be interesting, Jeff. You know what? A lot of people are saying maybe Randy Orton and maybe Randy Orton ends up having a match somehow with Cody coming out of this too. I don't know where that may come from or how that may go, but I don't know. This seems like it's going to be here for a while, at least until it starts maybe boiling over a little bit at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I think they're really going to try to knock it out of the park with SummerSlam. So
yeah, it looks
so
that way.
I think we could see some big stuff at SummerSlam.
Yeah, it really looks like some of the big stories are coming to an end there. I'm sure you're gonna get an announcement of Punk and McIntyre, which we're gonna talk about in a little bit too. But that and all of this stuff that's been coming to a head, Damian Priest and Gunther. It really looks like they're trying to make SummerSlam as big as WrestleMania type show again before it goes to 2 nights, and that's going to be starting next year. So yeah, this will be the last one night SummerSlam that we're going to have, but I think it's going to be big. I do. Yeah. That's the 80s wrestling. Watch this. Going to be a fun time. Said Damien. I have a beef with the new Bloodline. Solo Sikoa is the leader. If it were me, I would have chosen Jacob Fatu. Well, we'll see, Mark. I mean, like Jeff pointed out, I mean, it may turn into that one. They may not stay under someone for very long before they decide to do things on their own. So we'll see. If Cody loses the title, I think it'll be due to Orton turning on him. We've come a long way from Street Fighter, Solo Sikoa. What if Jacob is Roman's mole? One of them could be still talking to. Yeah, see, that's the thing. All these little things, right, could all end up playing into stuff here. I'm sure Roman is watching, and he doesn't appreciate Solo with that necklace around his chest there. So yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting. And again, it's what makes SmackDown one of the must-watch shows too, to just see what's going to be next in this whole question. Joe and Jeff, I have a question for you guys. If you want to answer, would you love to see Armando Estrada be the manager of this version of the Bloodline?
He does have history with Jacob Fatu, so I don't think right now. But I think it would be interesting, especially if Jacob Fatu ends up kind of splitting away from the rest of the pack. I think that would be a pretty cool thing to kind of bring that back.
And then Edward wants to know, what if The Rock is the actual boss of the new... it could very well be. That the Rock would want him kind of. We don't know when we're going to see the Rock, guys. We just don't. It could be next. Could be next year in time for Mania. It could be before that, maybe the Royal Rumble. We don't know. But the one thing I will say is, if Rock is pulling strings, What he may want here is to have them soften Cody up as much as they can. I don't know that he'd want them taking his title because I know he wants that for himself. But who knows? He could certainly be behind the scenes and something going on there. Isaac says, "What's up, Joe and Jeff? Did you guys think of that segment? What did you guys think of that statement with Pierce and Bo?" We'll get to that. We can get to that in a little bit. It was pretty cool. And actually, you know what? Isaac, you should come out on Tuesday and talk to us during Tuesday's show because we cover all of that. We went over a little bit of that last week. In fact, on the show, Jeff, if I remember correctly, I think we talked about that.
Yeah, we did.
Isaac, go back and check out our Fireflies Forever show. If you haven't seen it yet, it's really, really good, and it's all about Bray Wyatt. And I know we did address that question, so go and check it out. I'm sure you'll like it if you're into that because we do a lot of talking about all that on that show. No problem, Chris. Anytime. Imagine when Roman returns, he says, "I loved you, Solo, but what happened to you? When I'm burying my father, you turned traitor on me." Very blurring the lines. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. And Jeff says, "Can you ever trust the Viper?" Randy can turn on a dime. We've seen him do it before. He plays both sides of the fence really, really well. He can be a great heel or he can be a great face, and we'll see. So, all right, Jeff, what do we got next?
All right. Well, the screen says it all. Mom is back and Dom is in trouble. I'm pretty sure these were some of the thoughts that were going through Dom's mind as her music hit. So, yeah. What do you think about this, Joe?
Imagine getting caught in the position that he got caught in, right? That's every man's worst nightmare, to get caught on the mat with Liv Morgan, and then all of a sudden Rhea comes popping out and just goes right up to, just puts her finger under his face, and that was it. Oh my God. Dom, if I'm Dom, I'm on a plane out of the country. I ain't coming back. I don't know what's going to happen here, but oh my God. No, I don't know that anybody expected Rhea to be back this soon. I know I didn't.
I didn't.
So I was shocked that when she came down. I don't know if she's cleared to wrestle. Maybe she's not. But in any case, man, Liv Morgan is a marked woman right now. And Dom, geez, oh Lord, whatever they're gonna do on the show on Monday. I could tell you the other thing too is that the Judgment Day just seems like it's imploding. Judgment Day is just imploding. Damian Priest is kind of doing his own thing, and we saw Finn Balor getting angry with him, and now Rhea's going to come back and seeing what's going on with all this, and Rhea's going to want to take her power back that she had, but she's going to find that Liv's got her fingers in that pot. So I don't know, man. This is chaotic. I would imagine we probably start Raw with this on Monday because everybody wants to know what that big cliffhanger was. What did Rhea do? We saw the cameras go off the air with her just standing in the ring with him. What happened next? She walks, of course, and she left the ring too. We saw a little bit of that. But man, Jeff would not want to be in Dominic's shoes.
Yeah, he's in a very difficult position, we should say. Not just the difficult position he was in when Liv was stretching him out, but just a difficult position overall. I've got to do this too. And when I say we, I mean wrestling fans. I think a lot of wrestling fans kind of underestimate the impact that the Judgment Day has had, and you can see their fingerprints all over every single show.
Yeah.
And it's been good stuff. Like for months, all of us have been saying the Judgment Day's done. The Judgment Day's done. And because it looks like it absolutely looks like it. And then something happens and we get another wrinkle in it. So kudos to everyone involved. I'll be honest and say this too. I was not a fan of JD McDonough being a part of it. Now I love it because he gets the crap kicked out of him a lot. And that's a lot of fun to watch. So, But no, this is a lot of fun. I didn't expect Rhea to be back this soon. So maybe they wait a little while before they put her back in ring. There's still a lot of stuff that you can do without her having to be physical or get into the ring at all before they get there. I just thought this was cool. And old Dom is he might be in the doghouse right now, we'll say.
Look at that look on his face. He's like, it's like he has his head down. He's like a scolded dog, man. He's just sitting up there, like you almost feel sorry for him. It's like, oh my god. But yeah, man, I agree with you. I think the Judgment Day, I think, was never really looked upon as a great faction. At least I don't think so. And they were really never looked upon as being one. But I'll tell you what, man, they really carried Raw. They really did. They carried that show for a good long time. They were the heels on that show when Seth was there and everything like that. They were always involved with something. And even though Rhea is so beloved, fans, of course, weren't going to boo her because everybody loves her. But my gosh, Dominic, people still boo the hell out of him. And like you said, McDonough just seemed like an annoyance when he first joined them. But now he's like Jeff said, he's that guy that you always know is going to take a beating. He's going to be the one that's going to get speared by Braun Strowman. He's the lackey. He's the lackey in the group. And then Finn, you don't know where Finn is, and he always used to be pretty close to Damian. Of course, they're tagging together and stuff like that. So yeah, there's that whole thing. And if it does break apart, it's going to be. They really, like I said, carried Raw. We have to give credit where it's due. This is again, like I said, it should be the theme of the show. Must see TV. You are not going to miss Raw because of this. And of course, the Wyatt Six, of course, all of you that are watching for that, but this is must see. You were waiting since last week for tomorrow to come so you can see what happens with this whole, call it a soap opera. It is. It's an absolute wrestling soap opera between these two. So go ahead.
Joe, who would have thought that 6 months ago, any of us would be envious of Dominic Mysterio? Yeah, here we are.
Right? He's got a pretty good problem to have. He's got one that's jumping on him in a ring, and and then he's got this one on in the back. I don't know, man. It's like. He's a pretty lucky dude. I think all the fans have reason now to boo the crap out of him because they're jealous more than anything else. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's a good problem to have. Except for the fact that both of them probably could beat him up at any one given time.
Oh, for sure.
So, you're messing with fire, but oh boy. Yeah, this is just good stuff. Swagfan says Rhea's hot, but how can anyone resist Liv looking like that? I'd be caught. I can't lie. Derek said he's already a dead man, so I was just trying to look. I think Dominic set up Rhea's injury will turn on Rhea at SummerSlam or something about like that. Who knows, man? Like all of this stuff, who knows where it's going to go? I know that it's going to lead to a rematch between, of course, Liv and Rhea, in which I would imagine Rhea might get her belt back because she lost it due to injury. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know when she's cleared or how, whether or not she's cleared at all yet from injury. That I don't know. So that's going to depend on how far they're going to go with this. The storyline between Dominic, Liv, Morgan and Rhea has been great. Been confirmed already. Rhea is starting Raw. Yeah, I figured they have to, right? They can't leave that cliffhanger there and not start up Raw with it. So she'll be in the ring, I would imagine, to start the show. But nothing happened, mommy. Yeah, okay. Try telling a scorned.
All of us saw Liv Morgan folding this man up like a pretzel in the back.
We did.
So
we did.
And y'all are dry humping in the ring and all of that. So let's not act like you're completely innocent. Now again, Dom, I'm a little bit jealous of you, but you've got some problems on your hands. So
right,
and then that away.
And then Jeff, there was the whole hotel key.
Yeah.
Where did that go? Nobody knew. Nobody knows where that ended up being. So who knows what he did after the show and whether or not he went over to that hotel room and opened the door and stuff. You know what I like about this most, Jeff, and I heard them talk on Busted Open about this. I like this because, right, all the wrestling fans have Twitter. They all know damn well that Dominic is married and he sends stuff to his wife. They know Rhea just got married and stuff. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. People just don't care. They're still watching it to see what's going on, knowing full well that this is a wrestling storyline. And that's okay. I just think that's hilarious because they talked about it there saying, do you think it's good that kayfabe is broken like that in this day and age? Like that, you know, like Rhea posted her wedding picture, and while this is going on, and Dom posted a post to his wife and all this stuff, and you know, so does that bother you? And I'll ask the chat, does that bother you? Like, does that make you not as interested in this as much? Because I can tell you, man, it doesn't for me. I couldn't care less. That day has come and gone. I love kayfabe. I love that Undertaker never broke character. I love it. I love how we talked to Nikita Koloff that he said they never broke kayfabe. They almost got knifed because they didn't break kayfabe. I love that. I do, and it's a big part of wrestling. But what do you? Let me know in the chat. What do you guys think? Does that bother you? Like when you see things like that, or you just say, yeah, listen, this is modern day. They're going to celebrate. She got married. Of course, she wants to show the picture because she's thrilled that it happened in her real life. But Jeff, what's your thoughts on that? Because you watch wrestling about as long as I have it in different ways. So what do you think about that?
I think that given it was always going to change because the times have changed and the way that we consume the product changes. And now with social media and all of those things, it's not, people are hip to the game. And it's the same thing with television and all entertainment. People are hip to the game. You get more access, those kinds of things. So it had to evolve. And, you know, although this has a physical component to it, Barry Monkey is right. It's acting. It's them portraying characters on screen. It's entertainment.
Right.
So, you know, it's not all. You're not going to have the days of, like you said, the Undertaker or people chasing Roddy Piper around trying to shank him, or, you know, Nikita Koloff, people believing that he's a Russian and, you know, trying to hem him up in an elevator. I mean, that's the kind of stuff we're not going to see that stuff anymore. So it was fun for those days because if you really think about the 80s were just big and just honestly cartoonish at times.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So again, the times have changed. So I think how we access these folks and what they share with us, what they don't, it was bound to happen the way that it's happening now.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'd be almost impossible, right? There's cameras everywhere, you know, and even if they were trying to do it, people are at these you know, like Rhea's wedding and all that kind of stuff. Other people taking pictures, they'd be all out all over the internet. That's just how it is. It doesn't matter to me. You know, look, I like the story. I follow it for the story. Listen, we all know what professional wrestling is. We all know they bust their asses in that ring to do what they do, to entertain. And we all know that these storylines are, of course, not real. It would be like thinking Roman Reigns is an actual mob boss for the last 5 years. I mean, we know that a lot of these aren't real. That it's based in a little bit of reality, maybe, but yeah, look, I just like it. I watch for this, and I'm going to be glued to the set on Monday tomorrow to see what Rhea's going to say and how Dominic's going to try to weasel his way out of this in whichever way he does. But yeah, Conrad brings up a great point. We want to be lost for 2 or 3 hours. It is. Exactly. My wife always compared this when she knew I was watching it from back in the 90s when her and I met, to a male soap opera, and it really kind of is. You know, like I can remember my wife watching her soaps back in the day. My mom always did. Jeff's, I know, did as well. Watched their soaps, and they knew full well those people weren't real, right? They're actors, so it's very similar, and I'm fine with it. I truly don't mind that. I just think that, and I know someone in the chat said too that kayfabe would be so hard to do. It would. It would absolutely would, because there's like I said, there's photos everywhere. There's people taking pictures of these people everywhere they go, and at some point they're going to get a picture of Rhea with her husband, or Dominic with his wife. So yeah, it would be next to impossible.
Joe, I mean, a few weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, people lost their flipping minds because the Wyatt Six were in a
Oh my
restaurant.
gosh. Yeah.
Like
How
people
stupid.
lost their flipping minds
Yeah.
because these people didn't wear their their gear and makeup and mask
Yeah.
into some fast food joint.
Yeah. So
I
stupid.
mean, come on, come on.
Yeah. So stupid. What do you really want them to walk in? I don't know where they were, but could you imagine like this group of wrestlers walking into like a Denny's with those masks on? First of all, they get arrested.
Mm.
So it's like
Can you imagine Nikki asking for a number 5 with a coat? I mean, dressed
right.
up like that. I mean, really, let's be honest about it.
I mean,
Nikki's gonna be up there like she is on Raw and be like, "Yeah, let me get a
Whataburger, yeah.
let me get a number 3. Let me have some ketchup on the side and a Coke with light ice and whatever else." I
Oh
mean,
my
come
god. Imagine him handing him a box like she's doing with the videotapes
on.
and putting her order in the box. Like, come on, man. Like it's and the thing is, that's gonna be I know they said Mark Henry got mad about that. That's gonna be turned around anyway, because now you're seeing Bo in real life there. So now you've seen him on the show as Bo. So that's probably going to all turn around anyway. Once you get done with the videos and stuff that they're doing about all these characters and everything like that, you're not going to see them wrestle in masks. So that's going to get all turned around. But yeah, that's so stupid. Look, like I said, I agree. The mystique of these supernatural characters like the Undertaker and stuff like that, man, you just can't. You can't do that. These poor people wouldn't be able to have a life. And I'm sure all throughout his career, Undertaker doing that, right, had to probably hide. He probably had to hide from people, or he had to maybe go to private dinners or places where he could eat dinner by himself, get a private room somewhere, or probably, and that kind of sucks. You want to be out and about, you can't. It's like my favorite rock group of all time, Kiss, until nobody knew what they looked like. No one. They couldn't show their faces. They had to constantly be pushed into limousines, whisked away to avoid people trying to take the pictures of what they really looked like. So it's the same thing. No, that's ridiculous. I don't blame them. I think that it is what it is. When they're out and about, whatever. If you run into a fan when you're out there, take the picture with the fan. Who cares? It's not going to change anything. And with that particular example, it didn't make anyone not want to watch it. It didn't make anyone like it less. So yeah, it's same thing goes here. I think it's just all fun, and we know it. So
yeah.
Dallas was a soap opera. Yeah, oh yeah, I watched Dallas. Only because the Cowboy Stadium was on the very beginning of the show.
Dallas and Knots Landing and
Falcon Crest.
Yeah.
Dynasty.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there were so many. And then not to mention all the ones during the day too.
Dynamite, Bold and Beautiful, Young and the Restless. And listen, for those of you who are instantly judging me right now, I stayed a lot with my grandparents, and my grandmother was a big soap opera fan.
Yep.
And it's not like today where kids are like, "Oh, well, I want to watch this," and you give them a tablet or something. It was whatever's on TV, whether that's a soap opera, In the Heat of the Night, Price is Right, whatever it was, that's what was on.
Yep.
Period.
100%.
So
100%. Yeah, it was all of those things, man. I mean, you could even probably say Saturday Night TV, Jeff, with Love Boat and Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island, yeah.
They were soap operas, no doubt. No doubt. A 1 hour long soap opera every single week. No doubt. I apologize. My camera's being weird. Sorry, it's blurry.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. It fixed it.
There you go. Conrad with the comment saying they had us watching MASH. That's right.
Yeah, right. Like all that stuff. I mean, and that's what this is, and that's why we keep coming back, and that's why we love it, and that's why we watch. Because if the storyline sucked, we wouldn't care.
Right.
And Jeff and I harken back a lot to when we were doing Raw on our channel, and how bad the storylines were. And you just didn't give a damn. Nobody cared about any of that garbage. Retribution, that whole bunch of crap. Like, nobody cared about that. Nobody gave a damn. I didn't want to see any of that. So it was like, yeah, man, what they're doing, the writers, all the people that are writing for WWE right now, the creative team, kudos. to them. They are finding ways to keep you. Look at that whole story with Chad Gable that's been going on. Not even before the Wyatt Six showed up. That whole thing. It's just all these little good things that they're doing. They're writing in, and it's been amazing. It's been really, really amazing. Jeff, you're right. Imagine if Nikki walks into a fast food restaurant and walks up to the instant clerk of the HS state that says "play me," and then I'll watch the tape to figure out what her order was. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, silly, just silly. They're not going to wear their mask.
They have to scan a QR code to find out her order.
And it's not like no one knew who was in the faction. Everybody knew even before the faction came. They all knew who it was. So yeah, whatever. It's silly. It's silly. But
I mean, I get it, but at the same time, like it's not the same as it used to be. So we've got to adapt and evolve with how things have evolved over time. So
yeah, agreed. Yep. All right, man. What do we got up next?
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about this NXT and TNA continuing to work together, and that it'll help us segue into the next topic. But yeah, man, what are you thinking about this, Joe?
I am more than excited about this. I didn't know where it was going, obviously, but once you started to see, I think once the Joe Hendry thing, when he appeared on NXT, and then of course he got eliminated right away in that Rumble that they had. But I think ever since then, I knew that this had to be something more. Now, someone had asked Tommy Dreamer, because obviously Tommy, still does some stuff with TNA, whether or not this is leading toward a pay-per-view. And obviously he said he doesn't know. He doesn't have that information, but he did say it would be kind of difficult to do. And the reason why he said that is because he harkened back to when you had the whole thing, the crossover with ECW and WWE. But he said oftentimes one company will want control. They'll want to take over the matches, book the stuff, and this is how it's going to end. And then he said what's hard about it is how do you decide who wins? Like, let's say you had Joe Hendry against Ethan Page, right? Champion versus, and let's say Joe Hendry, wins the title. Let's say he beats Moose at Slammiversary, and it's Joe Hendry and title for title going up against Ethan Page, right? Who wins it, and who gets to carry those titles? So there is a lot of complication in there. I hope it does. I really hope that's where it goes because it'll blow everyone's mind. But I love this. I love how they are still. Obviously, you can see on the screen they are still invading TNA. And now we're getting the Rascals, a reunited Rascals team, that to me is almost unheard of because one of them is not on TNA's roster anymore and hasn't been for a while. He's on an NXT roster, but yet they are allowing them to, they're not just saying Zachary Wentz and something else. They are saying it's the Rascals who are a property of TNA. So that's pretty awesome right there. So it shows me that Shawn Michaels and the powers that be are going to work with them, and they're going to have back and forth here all the way through this. And I love it. I love that Jordan Grace had another mystery challenge, and it came from NXT. I think this is brilliant. You are seeing both sides, and my God, Jeff, how those fans at NXT reacted to Joe Hendry when he came in. They blew Full Sail out. When his music hit and you saw him, oh my God, they were all singing his song.
Well, let's just go ahead and go there because I mean, dude is crushing it, right?
Oh my gosh, it's almost like where did he come from, right? Like we all loved him. I loved him watching him on TNA every single week. But oh my God, did this guy's popularity explode? And it took the song. It was number 4 on the charts. He beat out he beat out some singers that have been on the charts for months and months and years, and then he shows up on NXT and he gets the pin in a match with right here. So dude, unbelievable. I'm getting there's a Joe Hendry shirt on wrestling t-shirts with the one with his face on there now. I'm definitely getting it. I need one. But yeah, man, it's insane how popular this guy's gotten. He is on he's just on a rocket ship right now. I would be shocked if he doesn't win TNA's title at this point. I would be shocked. and and then I don't know, maybe they have that battle against Ethan where he goes up against Ethan Page. I don't know, but yeah, the match with Trick was amazing. And Jeff, I love this whole thing. I do. I think this is outstanding work that they're doing. They're bringing some people over from NXT that maybe aren't necessarily at the tip top of NXT, and they're not on the program every single week. So they're getting some other people seen by the crowd at TNA, and then vice versa. You're bringing one of the most popular wrestlers right now in wrestling to their show and firing up that crowd. So I love all of this. And Joe, man, I don't know. Like I said, Jeff, I'd be so shocked. Now I know it's going to be hard because that kind of a match isn't conducive to getting a one-on-one because there's going to be a bunch of other superstars in that ring. But I would be shocked at this point if he doesn't have gold from that or very, very, very soon.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at his popularity, like you said, and you look at how over he is right now, it's almost like, well, this is what you have to do, right? Because to Mark's point and Conrad's point, if TNA doesn't do something to hold on to Jordan Grace, Joe Hendry, they could very well not be there at this point next year, which would be a detriment to TNA because it'd take two of their biggest stars. So they have to do something to keep these folks around, and not just from a title perspective, but obviously monetarily. And the other thing that people don't always take into consideration when it comes to these folks is they want to be seen by the most people that they can be seen by.
Yeah.
Period. So what place is going to give them all of those things, or as close to all of those things as they can get? So I feel like with Joe Hendry, you got to strike while the iron's hot with TNA. I didn't think that they would. I didn't think that he'd get the title just yet.
Right.
But with everything going on, he's undeniable. He is undeniable right now.
I agree.
And the shirts, the merch, the social media stuff all shows that he's undeniable. So again, I hope that TNA is able to hang on to him and Jordan Grace for a little while longer and not lose out. But while they're here, definitely strap the rocket ship to them. Let them take you to places that you need to go.
Yeah, no doubt. Either one of them could, like Jeff said, either one of them or both could leave. And like Jeff, I wouldn't condemn either one of them. I would still be as big of a fan of both of them as I am now. Whether they're on NXT or whether they're on WWE's main roster, I would love them both. And I also would feel really happy for them because that's a dream of many wrestlers, is to get up to WWE. That many of them look at that as the pinnacle of wrestling, whether you think that that's true or not. But so I would be thrilled for them, that if they would do that. But obviously, like Jeff mentioned too, I hope that TNA understands how big of a loss this would be, and tries to at least make them an offer to try to keep them a little bit longer. Whether that's money or whatever the case might be. Well, of course it's money, but maybe, giving them, I know TNA is pretty good with Joe anyway, because Joe flies home all the time. So that they have to accommodate for that because he goes back home, back and forth, coming and going. So they must, accommodate that a little bit for him. But yeah, it's, we'll see. Conrad's saying he thinks Jordan's gone in January 2025. WWE isn't playing nice with everyone. I'm enjoying NXT TNA's partnership, but I'm also seeing the other side of WWE, yin and yang of the business. It's we'll see what happens, but I would think that, Jordan is already on top. She has the title now, but I would think that, with Joe, give him that title, and like Jeff said, let him run with it for no matter how long it might be. And then if he does make that decision, you would have to take the title off of him at that point. And they, it does look like, obviously Joe isn't up there yet, but Jeff, with Jordan, it does look like they may be grooming Giselle Shaw, if there is that point where Jordan might say, okay, I'm gone, to have someone be the next up. It does look like that she may be, vying for that spot. So I don't know. Happy, sad altogether, I guess. But I don't know. I'm just, again, this whole thing, and I'm just excited for Joe. Joe is such a great entertainer with his music and all that kind of stuff. So such a unique gimmick that he has. That not many people have done it. You look back, like Jeff mentions, like the 80s and stuff. You had some wrestlers that would come out and sing and things like that, but never really maybe got to the point of what he's doing, and none of them ever charted on the charts. But yeah, we'll see what happens with it.
Joe, I want to point out RK Shuttleworth's comment because I think it's a good one. Joe has to watch that WWE doesn't mess with his gimmick. What they have done so far has not allowed him to use his satirical songs, which is one of the things that helped him get over like this. 1000% agree.
Yeah, that's very true.
Completely agree. This is one of those cases where you don't need to WWE a wrestler. And what I mean by that is you don't need to put your fingerprints on what their gimmick is. If it's already working, let it go. And while I've seen them do some messed up stuff, one of the folks that I'd point to is Cody. They kept a lot of stuff similar, which is what we want. But I completely agree, because if you screw this up, and I don't want to cause alarm, but you don't want a talent like Joe Hendry to come in with all of this momentum, and because you think you know how to do it best, you change something up and it completely halts that momentum. So I will say that I have a little bit more faith in this regime to understand that. But again, when you get corporations, when you get big money involved, things happen. So I just hope that, if he does make that decision to go to WWE full time, that he has that conversation of, I really want things to stay the same or even elevated. I mean, if you think about their production, they can do a lot of different things with him when it comes to the music videos and that kind of thing. So hopefully they keep the presentation simple.
I mean, you have guys there, Jeff, that he's already even interacted. Like if he gets up to the main roster, obviously LA Knight, and he's done some funny videos on him before. So I've no doubt they could adapt. And like Jeff said, the production team and everything like that, what Jeff was talking about there is, they probably can create a lot of more, I don't know. I don't want to say more professional, because that's putting down TNA, and I don't want to do that. But they can I think probably continue that and create more things with him along those lines. And I agree with Jeff 100%. They'd be silly not to. Because that's his thing. And if you give that up, it's like, nah. I think he has to have it. I really do. Now you don't have to do it all the time, but I mean, look at The Rock. The Rock would do those rock concerts every now and again. Let him do that. We've already just seen him do it with AJ Francis and that whole feud that he had. So let him do it. Let him go out there with a guitar every now and then and do something like that. There's nothing wrong with that. Imagine Joe running into Truth, and Truth calls him the Scottish Eminem. That Eminem album is really good, by the way.
Oh man, yeah. I'll just say this: if you aren't old enough to be around when Eminem first came out, and his persona of Slim Shady was wreaking havoc, you'll get a little taste of that with this one, I'll say. And if he says some stuff that's quite controversial, we'll say, and I'll just leave it at that. And if you want to check it out, check it out. But yeah, I enjoyed the album because I've been a fan of his since he came, since he first debuted. So I've listened to it a couple times, and like I normally do, I love to watch reaction videos on YouTube, people breaking down the songs and stuff. So I watched a few of those too.
Yeah, it's good. It does tell a story. And when he talked about listening to it from start to finish, it does. The whole thing goes through and tells one long story. So, yeah, if you're gonna check it out, I had heard like the vinyl of it was sold out. Like they can't keep them in the record stores. So, so Eminem is still as popular as he ever was. And supposedly this this is the end of maybe that might be a little misdirecting because he said this is the last album, but it could be the last album of that other persona, Jeff, and then maybe maybe he'll move on as so we'll see. But no, it's not politically correct in any way.
Not one bit. Not one bit.
I don't even think. Remember in back in the day, like right around the times when he first started putting albums out, they used to censor stuff. They used to like censor, like if there was a lot of F words in it, they'd bleep it out, and you would just hear like, if they did that with this album, you wouldn't hear anything. It would be all chopped up. You would hear like literally nothing. So
it just be like this basically. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Be just every 3 seconds. So
it literally would. Yeah, it literally would. Yeah, so it's good. It's a lot of fun. So it was kind of cool going back to that. And having somebody doing stuff that was doing really well, decades ago, and then come back and do an album is pretty fun. All right, so we're moving on, Jeff, from this one. And
so I'm gonna, and Joe, instead of me doing the Slammiversary spot here,
okay.
let's just do it when we get to the what to watch for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we'll have that a little bit later on in the show.
Yep.
But I want to go to this because.
Oh my gosh.
What did you think about this, Joe? I'm saying with the folks in the chat because honestly, wow.
I was shocked. And this was, look at this picture, right? They're selling this print, by the way. Good Lord, that was brutal.
Yeah,
it was. That's honestly, I'm glad I was watching that night too, because I don't get to see much. Like I said, I don't get to see this much. But oh my God, I don't think I remember them being this brutal with the women since that match between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, which was absolutely brutal. That unsanctioned match that they had a few years back. But I did not see this coming. And oh my God, what a way to start this. And this is going to be going up until All In, I would assume, with this feud that they're having. But look at that. I mean, it's just squeezing her face with blood running out everywhere all over the just absolutely brutal. James saying, some are asking why, Mariah, why, but I'm asking why the F did it take you so long? Obviously they hit every nail with this shock value, the gore shown, just her rubbing her face in that picture up against her face and then blood coming up. I mean, wow. Conrad said best Dynamite ending. A lot of people have been saying that, and Conrad's watched every one of these episodes since the start. If Conrad is saying it's the best ending of Dynamite, then that's saying something. I believe him because he knows way more about the product than I do. So man, when stuff like this is done right, it just kills. And this is, I don't know, Jeff, if you can think of anything else that you can compare this to that was just like utterly surprising to see that happened. But yeah, and maybe even trying to compare it to something wouldn't be doing it justice. But man, I love to see this. There have been more times than one on this show that I kind of bitched about their women and about not seeing enough time and all that stuff. I've done it. I know I have. But I love this. I think that this was just done amazingly well. And Tony has been really, really good in this role that she's had as champion. Her promos have been fire. That the whole character that she has been really, really good. Kudos to her too, because she came from another character that was kind of floundering prior to this, and just turned it completely around. And so, man, I love this. I can't wait to see. I know that we, I don't usually watch this stuff, but this would make me want to see All In. It really would. But yeah, I loved it, Jeff. What'd you think?
You just said it. I mean, this is the pride. This for me is one of the reasons, but a big reason why I'll be watching is because of how well they did this. And for those folks, and we're like this, so we're fair on here, right? For those folks who were saying that there's no stories in the women's division, for those folks who were saying, well, I wish they'd do something other than at the top of the card, just on the men's side. What do you think of this?
Yep.
Because this was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And the brutality of it, the stories behind it. And I was reading a little bit, and Conrad's talking about the movie. It's all about Eve. The story is based on this storyline, but this was so well done. And listen, Mariah May was equal opportunity. I'm giving out these hands. So Luther got a little bit too. If poor Luther, he went tumbling, but this was, if you think about the contrast, Joe, and for YouTube purposes, I put these photos in black and white. I did that for a reason. But if you think about the black and white persona, the how they've done things with Toni Storm, and you contrast that with how she looked at the end of the show, that was brilliant.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. Like the color that you're seeing on her is her own blood.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Yep.
Again, like Swag Fan just said, the visual alone, brilliant. So again, and we're going to talk about this at another point in the show, but this was one of the best endings to Dynamite. It's the most interested I've been in a storyline in a while, and I'm not just talking about the women's division, I'm talking about period, because it was that well done. And you could see it building. You could see that the wheels were going to fall off at some point, but how was it going to happen? And when we got it to play out here on Wednesday, I mean, just absolutely phenomenal. So kudos to Tony Khan, kudos to Mariah May, kudos to Toni Storm, and everybody that's a part of this, because this was brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely was. I can't think of a women's, a women's storyline off the top of my head that is more intriguing than this. And like I said, I've often said, look, when you have pay-per-views that are pricey, right? Their pay-per-views aren't cheap. When you have that, you have to make people want to watch. Now, All In is probably now their biggest pay-per-view of the year. But you have to make that exciting. You have to get people wanting to watch, and not just the men, the women as well. Look, Britt Baker came back, right? They have a talented group of women there. Talented group. And this is going to bring eyes to that. This is going to be bringing attention to that. I don't know if they'd go so far as to make this the main event. Probably not. But it should be right up there with the men's main event for that show, whatever that's going to be. But yeah, man, the comparison to the movie All About Eve, I believe I saw that. That's a Bette Davis movie from like the 1950s. And I believe I saw it. And I kind of remember a little bit of it. I'm probably sure my mom or my father was watching it when I was younger. But like everything Jeff said, that portrait, I showed you the color one. I mean, my gosh, they have a portrait of it that they're selling online. it's pretty big. And even looking at it there, it's just beautifully done. Beautifully done. A heel turn that is just absolutely amazing, and just so well done that you can't help but just sit there in awe of how it ended and how the show ended, like Conrad said. So yeah, it was phenomenal, just absolutely phenomenal. AEW needs to keep it consistently good because people will watch the show if there's something big, and that's how you have to grab them. Do you all agree that Toni Storm is going to come after Mariah? That Toni Storm is going to come after Mariah May? That Toni Storm will? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah. we just got to see how. The interesting thing is we saw something different from Mariah May. What are we going to see, or who are we going to see when Tony Storm shows back up?
Yep.
I think that's the question that we need to ask, because what is this going to bring out of Tony Storm?
Yep. 100%. 100%. Haven't seen anybody. Heard that there are cam angles, and they say Tony really took that belt shot to the skull plate. Was Tony crying because she was hurt, or that Mariah betrayed her? Probably both. Probably both. I mean, I'm sure that hurt if she took the belt shot. Next Wednesday's card seems to be keeping AEW's momentum going, and there are people still shooting fireworks outside of my home. I can't believe it.
Seriously?
So, yeah, it's crazy. They just party all year long, man.
On the 14th, like I could get it in the same week, but
nope.
I mean,
nope, it continues and continues and continues. So if you're hearing popping in the background, that's what's going on.
See, me personally, I put a flame bag on their doorstep.
Dude, man. Yeah, I mean it's ridiculous by now. You're right, but the stupid firework places stay open longer. Those big firework factories afterwards, and that's why they can still go out and buy them. So, but what are you going to do? TK is trying to get a media rights deal done for the pay-per-views. Yeah, I think that needs to happen. I think that does. A Bleacher Report is, kind of crappy. But all right, moving on, Jeff. I think
you know where we're going.
Oh, I know where we're going, and we haven't done this in a while. Everyone's favorite part of our show, guys. You know what time it is when Jerry Stiller is shown on our screen. It is the airing of Grievances.
The airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about.
Now you're going to hear him is right. Jeff, would you like to start, or would you want me to? It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna share mine this time around. Yours is one that I feel like needs to be highlighted. So take it away.
All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a word that I would like to never hear again used by anyone that not only talks about the wrestling business, but reports on the wrestling business and or does videos about the wrestling business, or even have, their names out there on Twitter with, I don't know. But so the word I'm getting to is a word that starts with B and ends with H, and it's not bitch. So I would like to talk, and the reason I bring this up now is because this is not the first time that this happened, and I'm sure it will not be the last. What I'm talking about here, of course, is Damian Priest, and Damian Priest, and the whole thing with the non-count and the shoulder off the mat and whatever the hell it was. I have had it up to here. I'm 6'2", and I've had it up to there with it. I'm sick to death of people out there saying that word, and I'm not even going to say it. You in the chat can say it. I'm not going to say it, because to me, that's one of the most disrespectful freaking things you can say about a wrestler or any of those people that are in that ring, or a referee for that matter. All right. It is the most disrespectful thing you can say. And I see people still doing it on wrestling. I watch a lot of wrestling YouTube shows that are similar to ours, and I watch other people saying it, and they're laughing about it. Ha, ha, ha. And they're saying it. Oh, this is what, and they're putting it in their YouTube header. I mean, okay. Jeff says this all the time, and I'm going to take his words from him. You get in a damn ring, and you, like Jeff always says, take a bump. Show me that you can get in the ring and take a bump before you're going to start bitching about someone making a mistake in a wrestling ring. Okay? You go and do it. I want to see it, because I want to crack up laughing, seeing you falling on the ground and probably crying when you do fall in on a wrestling mat. I don't understand why people think this is any different than we just had talked about it in our last segment about how we compare wrestling to almost like a soap opera. Okay? And it is. Right? But what do actors and stuff do when they're making movies or they're making TV shows? Do you not think that they ever make mistakes? Why do you think it is that when you watch a behind the scenes video of a movie being done, you will see several takes being done? They might do takes of one scene, a scene that might take 4 minutes. They may do 50 takes because it isn't right, because all of it is not right the way they want it to be. So they start over and they do it again. Well, guess what? Wrestlers don't have a do-over. They don't have a way to start over. They just must continue, right? And if something does happen, which I'm sure it does many, many more times than we even get to see, they don't have a reset button. They just have to practice, and then come out and do the best damn thing that they can, right? And things are going to happen. An arena might be a little hot, and the ring ropes might get a little slick. Someone might slide. You might be up on the top rope. You might slide off, and something may happen. We saw one with WWE recently with, what was it, Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker, where Sami, dove off, and Braun had to kind of come up to meet him, or Sami would have hit the floor. This happens probably in every single wrestling match you will ever probably watch, and you don't see it because they hide it very well. Right? This one just happened to, and no one really even knows why. A lot of people are saying that maybe Priest got his bell rung. He might have had a little woozy moment there where he just didn't know. He might have got hit hard in the head. Maybe it did. But again, please just stop. Stop acting like you're so damn high and mighty that you can come on here on the YouTube or whatever the hell it is, and you can complain about a wrestler making a mistake. Do you, as a human being, have you never made a mistake? Have you never, these podcasters, have you never made a mistake saying something on your podcast and say the wrong thing? Have you never read something wrong that was scripted in front of you? Have you never, boy, oh boy, man, if that's the case, you are the perfect human being. You are godlike in that respect, because, man, I can tell you, I've made a ton of mistakes in my life, a ton, and I will make a ton more. But that doesn't give me the right to be able to call these people out and say, and use that freaking word, which totally pisses me. Jeff made this comment to me when I was talking to him about this. I would love to see one of these people at their place of work and go in and say to them, hey, you just botched your job, man. Look at you. You just botched that whole thing, whatever they happen to be doing. Whether
you screwed up that TPS report, Bobby. You botched it, dude.
Yeah, you botched your look at what you're doing here. Maybe they're working in a factory, right? Man, you just botched that whole thing. You messed up the whole entire thing. You suck, man. I would love to see that happen, because then maybe they would understand that I don't care how good you think you are not perfect. No one is. We all make mistakes. These guys this is something that if you make one little iota of a mistake, everyone's going to see it. Everyone. I couldn't stand when people were making fun of Nia Jax. When Nia Jax would have falls and stuff like that before she came back for this run. That pissed me off. It's like, well, who do you think you are? Can you go do it any better? I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt any of you probably ever, you know what? Most of these people I could doubt ever were even in a fight in their lives for real. Probably never had a school fight or anything. More than likely, they were the ones who ran away from fights. So don't come at me with this word. Don't use it in your podcast because you want to get views. Don't do that. Who in the hell do you think you are? Like that, I'm sorry, but it pisses me off. I'm sick of hearing it. I'm sick of hearing people say it. They don't deserve that. None of these people do. They work their asses off so almost the entire year. These guys don't get vacation. They don't get to go and say, I'm going to go take 3 months, I'm going to take 3 months off. They work 300. They work all year round. You go, you do that, and you show me that you are never going to make a single mistake with anything that you do. It sickens me. And, it's such a shame. Damian Priest, you may look at him and say, he maybe has not had the greatest run as a champion. Maybe some people will say that, right? But you know what? he's done very well for himself. He's come up the ranks. He had to wait his turn, and now he's the champion. And say what you will about him, but he doesn't deserve to be called by that name. He doesn't deserve to be had these things said about him because he made one mistake in his time as a champion, or however long he's been wrestling. I don't know if he had done it before. But this kind of crap just annoys me. It needs to be out of wrestling, and anybody who says it should just sit back and think to themselves, how many times a day do you make mistakes in your life or in your job that you can easily maybe fix by changing something on a computer screen, or go over in, I don't know, do something on paper to fix it. And it's not seen by millions and millions of people on a TV screen that you are obviously pointing out, when even the announcers try not to do that because they want to hide it. They don't want that person to feel bad. Do you want to know how bad Damian Priest probably felt after this was over? He probably felt like crap. But, so that, let him take that on himself. Don't make it worse. But yeah, I that's really all I have. I just wanted to rant about that because I'm tired of it. I think it's just 100% disrespectful to wrestling as a whole. It's 100% disrespectful to wrestling, and I don't think anybody out there has a right. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a person who's written about wrestling for 40 years. I don't care if you're a person who's on the radio. You have no right to criticize any of these athletes when you damn well can't step in a ring and do it yourself.
Yep. There's nothing for me to add other than the fact that the only thing that I would add to that is, for those of you who say that word, I would invite you to, one, go to a local wrestling school and just ask them if you can sign up for a week. And I would love for you to video your training for a week. And if you make it a week, and you go into week 2, I'd be very surprised, because a lot of people talk about it, but they can't do it, and they're not committed enough to do it. And someone, I think it was RK Shuttleworth, brought this up earlier. But Joe, could you imagine if movies were done live?
Oh my God,
they had to perform the stunts live?
Yeah, that would be there's no way that they would come out that unscathed, where they're doing everything the way that they're supposed to be doing. There's no way. Right.
So again, a lot of people equate wrestling to soaps, and that's fine if that's what you want to do. But these folks are doing the stuff live. There's no safety net. There's no, let's redo that. There's none of that. You're in front of millions of people, plus a live crowd. If you've never done anything live, that's okay. But yeah, I mean, Joe, you know how passionate I am about this, and I could probably talk another 20, 30 minutes on it, so I'm going to shut up. But thank you for saying that, because I really do get tired of that word. And I'm going to say this too. This isn't specific to a company. This is across the board. People make mistakes. Sometimes we make mistakes because we're being a little too overly ambitious, and that's okay. But for the love of all things, if you're going to say that word, then let a camera follow you around daily and stream it live to millions of people, which, millions of people probably won't watch you. But stream it to as many people as you can and see how many times you mess up during the day. I think that'd be a good kind of trade-off.
I would love that, Jeff. Could you imagine if somebody went around almost like the Truman Show with a little thing that every time you screwed up, something would go off above your head that says botch, 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 and stuff like that? How would you feel? Literally. How would you feel? How would you feel if that happened to you? Most of us are lucky because we only have like where we work. A lot of us like work in a very, like a small little place. I mean, I work in a retail store. So, if I make a mistake, my boss is going to know. And maybe just a couple other people around me, but it's not going to be a million people watching on a screen. So he's right. Like,
or 15,000 watching live in person.
Yeah. Not just on a TV screen, but yeah, you also have a crowd in front of you. Could you imagine that crowd? Like if that crowd had people in it that were like doing stuff or saying shit to him when he was leaving the arena, like it's horrible. That's a horrible feeling. And he, the last thing I want for them to remember Damian Priest whenever he is done. And a lot of people are thinking he might lose to Gunther, which wouldn't surprise me. But the last thing I want for people to think is that, oh God, you remember when he did that? And that'd be the thing he's remembered for during the championship. He doesn't. That's not fair. He's a good athlete. He's a good wrestler, and he shouldn't be known for that. That's not fair. And so, it's just I had to get it off my chest because I'm just tired of it. Every time I go on Twitter and I see that the crap show that is Twitter out there, and they are all doing nothing but with the B word and B word and B word. I want to just reach out through the Twitter logo and punch him right in the face. I really do. I just punch him right in the mouth. But yeah, I just can't take it. And I know you guys in our chat and the people who watch our show and stuff like that, you're more respectful in that. I know you all are. We all know you by now. But, like I said, if, I have no tolerance for that unless you can show me that you can go out there and you could do it better. And then maybe I would have to eat my words. But other than that, yeah, just knock it off and stop trying to do stupid shit to get YouTube views. So, yeah. That's it. I'll take a breath now. Oh, man. Well, there you go. Jeff will have one, I'm sure, next time.
Yeah.
But that is our grievance for the week. And it'll cost $0 to be a decent human. Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's all about people being jerks. And most of the time you're being a jerk because you're trying to get attention. And that's sad, actually. It's sad. So, all right, guys, we're going to move on. That is our airing of grievances for the week. And we are going to continue forward, Jeff. So what do we have up next?
We got a little bit of sell or no sell.
Yes, we do. You guys know how this works. Obviously, we are going to have a topic. We're going to sell or no sell it. Play along in the chat with us as well as always. And the last one of these, so we have 3 of them, right? The last one will be decided on by you. So along with giving us your responses after probably like closer to the second and when we get to the third, start shouting out topics about what you want Jeff to put on that old spinner we got there that we're going to spin and see which topic there it is. There it is. And see which one makes it to the show tonight. All right. So we're going to do some selling or no selling, Jeff. What? There it is. The graphic. Check or X, sell or no sell. What is our first topic?
All right. So, Joe, we talked about this a little bit earlier.
Yep.
But first topic, sell or no sell here, is WWE Raw is the best main roster show in WWE right now. Sell or no sell?
I was talking to Jeff about this, and actually I asked him to put this one in. And there's a reason why I did it. And you might find my answer a little controversial with this or having even to pick between the two. But I'm going to just say this. I'm selling this. And I don't even think I'm going to go out on a limb here. And I know some of you are probably going to be like, I don't think it's close. I don't think it's close. And for all the reasons that I talked about before, when we were talking about all the things that are going on, the Mommy and Dom stuff with Liv, the Wyatt Six, the Chad Gable storyline that's going on there. Now you're going to have Damian Priest and Gunther happening there. You have Seth going on. You have the Punk Drew story. There are so many things going on that show. It's insane. And nothing about them comes off as anything secondary to me or something that I don't necessarily want to see. So to me, yeah, 100% it is. And I think there's a method to this madness. because I think that this is going to be, obviously going to Netflix is huge. And I think that they are going to continue to make this the most attractive show because of that reason. No offense to USA, that's going to get Fox, but I think that they are really going to make this a absolutely must-watch program. And yeah, it is still long. I agree. It is still long. I think it will be. Don't forget, no commercials with Netflix. So if you take out all the commercials that are on with Raw, you'd be down much closer to a 2-hour show. So if that's going to be the case, they can go however long they want, and I like that too. If you have a promo, like let's say that one that Rock had with Cody, and that kind of went on a little extra time, but then they had to stop it because of the time running out, they won't have that anymore. So now they can do things to completion on the show. But yeah, man, I am James. I agree with you. This past SmackDown it wasn't. I like SmackDown. Don't get me wrong, but this one on Friday, I wasn't thrilled with, and that's kind of why I got this in my head. But man, Raw is must watch. I can't miss a minute of Raw. I don't even like walking away from my TV because I don't want to miss something that's going on in one of those stories. So I'm selling this all the way. I do think Raw is their best show. I think there's reasons behind it, but also, I don't know, Jeff, maybe when the Netflix thing comes, maybe they might have to do a little bit of something to maybe put, I don't know, maybe they do a shakeup a little bit where they might put some other things on SmackDown. Maybe they'll allow people to go from one to the other, where maybe the Wyatt Six can appear on SmackDown as well after they're all introduced and involved. I don't know, but yeah, this is to me. Again, the athletes on both shows are amazing. Cody obviously being on SmackDown, having the champion there is a huge thing. But I just think Raw is just killing it right now, Jeff.
Yeah, I think, and to Conrad's point, because I was actually going to bring this up. If you think about the draft and you think about SmackDown, what SmackDown got, the storylines, everything that went to SmackDown, and then you think about everything on Raw and who's there and what you got there. And then you add in the Wyatt Six. Yeah, I mean, it's loaded right now, but I think that was done out of necessity because, again, Raw is a 3-hour show.
Yeah.
No matter which way you slice it and dice it, it's a 3-hour show. So you got to have some more compelling stuff to be able to hold people's attention for those 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I think that right now, although I'm a little bit hesitant because, like I said earlier, I feel like the Bloodline stuff is picking up again. But for right now, with what they're doing with Drew and CM Punk, what they're doing with the Judgment Day, and they're continuing to do great things. You got the Wyatt Six, you got Chad Gable. I mean, there's just so many different things. And I haven't even mentioned the women's division yet. So, again, a lot that they have on Raw. But it needed to be that way for a couple reasons. And, James brings up the Netflix deal. But let's be honest. Raw was kind of hot garbage for a while.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And it was definitely I think saying B show was being generous. So now you add in all the good stuff that they're doing, and the flow of the show seems to go very well, and how they kind of go, from thing to thing, and everything kind of connects. So yeah, I have to sell it too. I think it's the better show right now. Now notice this question says main roster show, because if we had said
NXT,
is it the best show? I can't say it's the best show that WWE is putting out right now, because that would be NXT, in my opinion. But Raw, between the main roster shows, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's see what people are saying. James Grant says sell. Brandon Wayne Lewis says yes. Alexa Bliss Gamer says sell. As of right now, sell, says James. Sell until Roman comes back, says Deanna. Yeah, that'll be a kickstart to it, I'd imagine, when he does. Can you pick in the middle? Sure, you can pick whatever you like. Sell with the 3 hours is too long. Dylan says sell. Sell or no sell this week. Okay, you're naming one for later. Damien says sell. Brandon says I'm selling. AB says sell. No sell until I see what is up with the 6. I'm more interested in the Samoan werewolf. Okay. James said I was bored watching SmackDown. Yeah, it was a little bit of a weird show. It wasn't the greatest one they've done. I would agree. And it's a shame because they're trying to bring – here's another spot with that too. What is going on with Bayley and why is she being spotlighted? She won that title at WrestleMania, and we don't hear from her much at all. And now you're getting her involved with Tiffy, which, of course, yeah, why not? She's super popular. And then Nia Jax. But is that going to mean that cash-in's going to happen and they're going to take the belt off of Bayley already? Not very stunning title run for her either. And I think she deserves better than that. So I don't know. Yeah, but I agree. I mean, and it keeps me entertained and makes me wonder what's going to happen next. But SmackDown does the same thing for me. Okay. Apart from the ending with Jacob, says James, sell for now. The commercials remind me to eat. Oh, well. That's tough. Raw is on fire, but is it because of it's an extra hour and they could put more stuff on it, but I'll soft sell. Okay. They're targeting my demographic. And I'll say this, they messed up in the draft for SmackDown. Yeah, like Jeff mentioned earlier that Conrad said that. Yeah, that's true. That their draft wasn't good. You're right. Commercials allows me to go and pee. Well, now you can't. You got to pause it now. You'll have to pause the Netflix stream and come back when you're done. Raw got everything. No sell until I see what's up with the Wyatt 6. Plus, they needed Raw to be this good to get the Netflix deal. I love Cody, but he doesn't need to be champ to the face of things. WWE era, Netflix TV 14. I find more compelling stories for the world title. Now that Rhea's back, it might get even better with the storyline she's in. But I would honestly think it's difficult to make every show a banger. There's going to be some thuds. Oh, yeah, no doubt. Yeah, you're not always going to have every show be top notch. You just want to make sure that it's that the storylines are compelling you to watch. Now, of course, you have LA Knight finally going to be going after. Oh my God, what the hell is his name?
Logan Paul.
Logan Paul. Thank you. Yes, and now finally that's happening. We've been asking for that for a while because we wanted maybe him to get some gold. So that's going to be interesting, I'm sure. So all right. Well, there you go. Thank you for that. And obviously, if this one we'll give you the topic, we'll talk about it, and then start giving us your picks for sell or no sell that you want to be entered into the spinner during this too. So, all right, what is topic number 2, Jeff?
All right, we brought this up a little bit earlier, but hey, we got to go back to it because it deserves mentioning. But Mariah May versus Toni Storm will be the best storyline in AEW's women's division to date.
Wow, that's a good one too, because they certainly are looking like they're going to be pushing Mercedes Moné and Dr. Britt Baker as a possible feud. Although, but between that and the other things they have going on there, I'm going to still sell it because I just think overall this is just a better storyline, a more drawn out storyline. In fact, the Britt Baker and Mercedes Moné one is a little bit weird because there's really nothing there. They're going to have to establish something over the next several weeks that Britt came back and then just challenged her kind of out of the blue. And it almost looks like they're trying to repeat another storyline where, she comes back and she's kind of pissed, because now Mercedes is high up the ladder and that she should be because she's an original from AEW. But yeah, I think this one just has more teeth to it, more bite to it. The way that they did this, we all talked about this earlier and how good this was done. Something I'm much more want to see right now. I love Britt Baker and I also like Mercedes, but to me, there's not much there. And unless they're hopefully going to have a lot of time, so they can build a story from in these next few weeks until the pay-per-view, and I'm sure they will. but I still don't think it's going to have as much bite to it as this one will. So yes, I'm gonna sell this. I do believe that this will be the best story in AEW women's division. I mean, they had some other stuff, obviously, over the course of the last few years. When Saraya came in and she had that little group together that they had, was kind of cool. They were doing that storyline, like them against everybody else. We saw, what was another good one? I'm trying to think of. Thunder Rosa against Dr. Britt Baker, and then of course Thunder against Tony Storm and all that kind of stuff that was going on. So they had some good ones, but I think you have to sell this. So I'm going to sell it.
Yeah, I agree, and I think they're doing some good stuff. To Conrad's point, in the women's division, and I think that for those, I'm just going to be real. I think for those folks who continue to say, oh, their women's division needs to improve, they need this, they need that, it shows that you don't watch. Because if you've watched over the last little bit, I think I've been more invested in the women's storylines recently with AEW. So I think you're giving a bad faith argument if you're not acknowledging the fact that they've done some great stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna sell it because I do think that it's gonna be great. But for me, thinking about Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, that was magnificent. You think about that brutal match that they had.
Yeah.
I think this could probably rise to that level. So, yeah, I'll sell it.
All right, there you go. James Chadwick selling it. Brandon Wayne Lewis says yes. Christopher says sell. Topic 2 is a seller, says Tony. Sapphire says agreed. Dylan says sell. Clown says sell. There's a spattering of good things on other shows, but I saw a good tag match was on WWE main event. AOP versus the Creed Brothers. That episode was before Money in the Bank. I was watching. Could be a main roster event. Sell, says Damien. Conrad says sell. I have been telling people for months on my show that the women's division is the best part of AEW lately. 3 to 5 storylines across AEW and Ring of Honor. I can't speak with this topic. I haven't watched AEW in forever. John G says sell. I'm going to sell for now, says Brandon. Not sure whether to sell this or not, but it could be. John G says sell. Bruce says sell. You have 2 female wrestlers that can do strong character work in this feud, says RK Shuttlesworth. What needs to improve is the tag divisions in AEW. AB says sell. AEW have a lot of great women's wrestlers. They just can't tell stories. Bonus Baby says, no, the AEW women's division doesn't need to improve. The women are fine. The women's division stories need to improve. Chris, the topic is about the great stories, though. Yeah. And Swag Fan says sell. So there you go. A lot of sells in there. I do agree. I do think that this will be the women's story to watch going forward. All right, guys. It is that time. We're at topic 3. This is all you. Give us some topics. What do you want us to sell or no sell on tonight's show? Shout them out. Let us know what they are. I know one person put that up earlier, something up earlier. Please put that up again because that's way up the chat. So give us some stuff. What do you want to sell or no sell tonight, guys? We're going to wait on you. We're going to fill up that spinner and we're going to pick something. So give us what topics you would like us to discuss as topic number 3 in sell versus no sell. All right, we got one from Conrad Jeff. It's WWE should have never split the tag team championships. Interesting. Come on, guys, don't be shy. I know you all have stuff out there that you'd like to do. So I know you've got some stuff out there you'd like to have on here. So I'm going to try to find that other one in the meantime. I think it was something about NXT, but I can't remember. I can't remember seeing what it was. Whoever that was, repeat that. Put that back. Put that out again. Because I can't find it now. All right, let's see. So, do you think WWE? This is from Deadman. Do you think WWE will win a TNA title, or will TNA win a WWE title first? Okay.
I'll just use it as WWE will win a TNA title first.
Yeah. John G says, "How would you book John Cena's fight?" Okay, that's a book a wrestler thing. A little different than what we're doing here, John. That could be something we could certainly keep in mind if we do another book a wrestler thing. So, is Jacob Fatu the next top star for SmackDown? Says Sapphire.
I'll just put Jacob Fatu is the next top star.
Okay. Will Julia be a game changer for the NXT Women's Division? That's James Chadwick. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. We got 4 more yet.
Yeah, we got, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yep, 4.
Okay. Will NXT join forces with TNA for Bound for Glory? And does TNA do the same with NXT for Stand and Deliver? So we'll make that where NXT and TNA join forces for a pay-per-view.
Okay.
James Grant has Stephanie will be a game changer for the NXT Women's Division.
Dang. 2 more.
We'll make this one into a question. It's about Danhausen from Clown. Danhausen, will he ever be on TV again, AEW TV again, or will he ride his contract out in the Indies? So I don't know how you can make that a thing. Will we see Danhausen on AEW, or does he go to the Indies? I guess. I don't know.
I'll just put Danhausen will appear on
AEW TV again.
AEW TV. 1 more.
John G. Will Alexa Bliss join the Wyatt Six? Or Alexa Bliss will join the Wyatt Six.
Yep.
Nice. Very good. Thank you all for submitting those. We appreciate it. If we didn't get to yours, again, we can go through the chat and pick one for future shows and stuff like that. So don't think we missed you. We could always get back to them. So there you go. There's the magic spinner. And Jeff is going to give it a spin, and let's see what it's going to be.
Julia will be a game changer for WWE.
All right. Well, there you go. So sell or no sell. Jeff, I'll let you start this one. Julia will be a game changer for NXT, man.
Yes. Sell. I don't even think that's a question, honestly. I think she's going to be great. Honestly, though, and I didn't even think that I would be saying this, but my goodness, is NXT loaded.
Oh man,
they're loaded. So I think she'll probably be right at the top when she comes in, but my goodness, she's definitely going to be a game changer there.
Yeah, I have to agree. Yeah, she's amazing. Constantly up in the PWI rankings of one of the best women's wrestlers out there. So you know that regardless of how she comes in or what she does when she comes in, she's gonna be amazing. I don't know that she'll stay in NXT even very long. She may only be down there for a hop, skip, and a jump before they put her up on the main roster. We'll see. But yeah, how can you not think that this is a sell? And it looks like everybody in the chat is saying the same thing.
And what I would say is, if you're not familiar with her, definitely look her up on YouTube. Yeah, I agree, Stephanie. Yeah, Conrad's bringing up what's probably going to happen. And yeah, that women's division in NXT, honestly, is starting to probably be at the top of the pile for all promotion.
And think, Jeff, that all those women are going to end up moving to the main roster at some point, and you're going to have them all in WWE as well, along with the likes of the ones they have there now. So very, very bright future for the women, which is awesome. I love it. All right. Well, there is our sell or no sell segment for the week. Thank you guys for playing along. As always, we appreciate that. And Jeff, I do believe it's gonna get a little hot in here. We're gonna get a little hot.
Yeah, it's about to get a little toasty, if you will. So, yeah, we got a burning question this week, which I think I like this one. I think this is a good one. I'm actually going to put this up full screen because I really want folks to see this. But there we go.
What are your honest thoughts on the Punk Drew feud? I'm not the biggest Punk fan and kind of feel like they're doing Drew dirty. Have they worked me? Interesting. All right. What do you guys think of the burning question here and how this Punk and Drew feud is going? This has become a little bit of a controversial topic. There are a lot of people that are talking about this. And I mean, even, you can watch Busted Open every single day and watch LaGreca have a fit about this because he said he's rooting for Drew. Like he can't stand, he doesn't like CM Punk's character. And he said he is rooting for Drew in this case because he feels bad for Drew McIntyre. So it's very cool how they're running this. CM Punk is so overly popular, but again, he is who he is at heart. And you saw it last week on Raw when Seth came down and he just kind of, and he looked like he was going to sincerely apologize to Seth. He dissed him. So right there, I'm going to be thinking leading to an apology, and then he gives you the big butt. And then it makes CM Punk will and always will be about CM Punk. That is exactly who he is and what his character is. He doesn't give a damn who he steps on, what he does to other people, who he screws over. And yes, a lot of people will say McIntyre deserved this because of the thing with the T-shirts and stuff that started out when Punk got hurt and everything like that. But the fact that he's now made Drew lose in front of his home crowd, made him lose again, and just all this stuff that Punk's doing, I don't know. This is a great question because who out there, and you can let me know in the chat, who is for CM Punk? You can tell me by just saying it. So say CM Punk or say Drew. Who are you liking in this feud? When this is going to happen, at SummerSlam. We know that. It's going to happen at SummerSlam. But it won't be happening for a title. It'll just be a side match. But this is going to be huge. Who are you rooting for to win this? Are you rooting for CM Punk? Because, Jeff, he has such a big fan base that it doesn't matter what he does. He can be the most despicable ass out there and nobody cares. His fan base doesn't care. They're just going to love him no matter what he does. And so what would you guys, who are you guys rooting for here? Would you say that you finally want Drew to overcome this and just get a comeuppance on CM Punk? Or, is Drew just that much of a jerk and has been throughout the whole time that you just want CM Punk to beat him? So I don't know. It's a very interesting topic. And to be honest, I don't know that I really saw it coming this way. I just assumed that with the whole T-shirt thing that Drew was doing and stuff like that it was going to be CM Punk. And I assumed that I was going to be 100% behind Punk. Now I don't know. I'm not so sure anymore. So, Jeff, what do you think, man?
So, Conrad brought up the fact that Drew prayed for CM Punk's downfall.
He did.
Not only did he do that, but he messed with Larry.
Yep.
And like I said before, if you've seen John Wick, you don't mess with a person's dog. That you don't do that. So Drew has earned every bit of this fire, this smoke that he's about to get, and he's earned that. I think he's going to get a taste of what CM Punk can do. But let's be honest here. Drew, Conrad with another great point. Drew and Seth are great, but think about what the involvement of CM Punk has done for both Drew and Seth.
Yep.
To me, it's taken them to an even higher level. They were already at a high level, but now, I mean, you're up there. And if anyone said to me that this was the best storyline that WWE had going right now, I don't know that I completely agree, but I wouldn't disagree with you. it'd be hard for me to say that this isn't one of the best things that they've done. And I mean, think about that. Think about the fact that we got the bloodline for as long as we have, and kind of smoldering under all of that because that was overshadowing everything for the longest. You get something like this. This feud, in my opinion, is going to do so much for Drew because I feel like Drew is great. But for me, I feel like having that signature feud is what he needed. And again, like Conrad said, Punk is injured. So AEW could have very well done this too. They didn't. I wish they would have, but now we're getting a great Drew and Punk. He's getting we're getting a great feud in WWE now. But my gosh, man, this is so good. And this story just goes to show when you become overly obsessed with something and you lose all of your wits and strategy and whereabouts, that's what's happening to Drew, and he kind of asked for it. So
yeah, and of course, on Raw we're getting Drew. He's gonna be appearing on the show. So I mean, does Drew just come flying into that ring after him and they just start beating one another up? I mean, very well could. But we know we're getting this at SummerSlam, and look, at any other show, this could be a main event. Absolutely, with the way this is going. You're going to have the title matches and stuff, which I'm sure they will be the main events, but this could very well be the main event. And this is going to just be another amazing match that's going to be on SummerSlam. So great stuff. James said, I honestly don't know without this feud with Punk, whether Drew would have stayed in WWE. That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. And Drew, of course, contract was up and stuff. So yeah, that's a very good point. So, but yeah, I'm glad he did because this feud is amazing. So, yeah, good stuff. All right, that is the burning question of the week. Thank you all in the chat again for playing along and responding. We appreciate it. We are going to go to, I believe, what to watch for next.
Yeah, what to watch for. We hadn't done this in a while, so
yeah,
what to watch for.
This obviously is what's coming up. What should you be out there watching for in the world of wrestling for this coming week? And of course, it is Slammiversary week, guys. July 20th, it is here. We have 6 days to go for one of, if not the biggest shows for TNA. And of course, with all that's surrounding TNA right now, with the stuff from NXT, with that big matchup that we're going to get for the title involving Joe Hendry and Josh Alexander and Moose in there. And just with everything else that's happening, of course, in TNA on a weekly basis, but not to mention, are we going to see pieces of TNA strung throughout this show? Are we going to get some new appearances on this show? We usually do. This is usually a big TNA show for them to bring in some new people. So maybe some of those people you had thought might be joining their roster back, when these WWE releases happened. Dijak could be a name that might be put out there now. That Dijak is, I think he's done with his contract. I don't know. This is a show that you can't miss. If you're a TNA fan, you cannot miss this show. And I cannot wait to see what we're getting. We already know some of the matches, but I can't wait to see what this show is going to be. There's always some surprises. There's always some stuff we're not expecting. Biggest show of the year for them in many respects. And I am psyched to be able to do this show. And it's next Saturday, guys. So don't forget. Get it however you're going to get it, order it, and come join us next Saturday because this is going to be, I think, a can't miss for not just TNA fans, maybe for NXT fans too, depending on how they work that all in, Jeff. But this is, I'm super excited that it's coming up.
Me too. I think that this is going to be a great, great show for those TNA fans who feel a certain way about a certain match. I will say that I think something may happen during that match, potentially. where you won't see a changing of the guard from Jordan Grace to Ash by Elegance.
Oh yeah, I know a lot of people are worried about that, but
Yeah,
I was
a lot of people.
Rosemary, baby. That's all you got to think. Rosemary, baby.
Yeah. Bonus baby bringing up another great name that could potentially show Trevor Lee, aka. Do you know who it is, folks in the chat? Who Trevor Lee was in WWE? It's a trivia moment.
I'm trying to think of that myself right now. I'm thinking, oh, wait a
He
minute.
he was recently released, Joe,
Okay.
and he put out a very very emotional video on social media, and I believe he's going to go back to TNA and go to the moon. Is what
Oh
I'll say.
yes. Yeah, to the moon. Cameron Grimes. Yeah, great point, man.
That's
Great
another
point.
person that could show. So I mean, who who knows? I think it's going to be a lot of fun Saturday. So I would say to you, if you are a TNA fan, it's going to be a lot of fun. If you're not a TNA fan, good time to jump on board. Come hang out with us.
Yep.
But yeah, I am excited for Saturday. I think it's going to be a good show. And then we got AJ Francis and PCO.
Oh man.
So,
yeah, we don't even know. There's probably going to be some more stuff named, I'm sure. On Thursday, we're going to hear more about stuff. We got Santino, directing the Authority down there, and all kinds of stuff that he's cooking up. So yeah, this is going to be a good one. This is a can't miss. Yeah, make sure you come out and join us. We'll get to you with a time, so watch our Twitter. We'll get to you with the time that we're going to start. If it does start indeed early with some early matches, which I imagine it will, then it'll probably be 7:00 that we'll end up doing the start time for it to make sure that we're watching all the matches that are the pre-show matches. So come join us. Hopefully Tazzy will be able to see it as well. It depends, of course, on his work. We'll see. But man, this is going to be a good one, and one of the ones I look forward to every single year. We always get something big at this show. Always. So, and don't forget, man, this week they're talking about something big. We've got the Hardys wrestling a tag team match. Matt and Jeff wrestling up against Brian Myers and, of course, Eddie Edwards, the System, on the show this Thursday. So, man, what a great time to be a TNA fan, like Jeff said. 7 p.m. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, we'll be starting at 7 p.m. then, because they always have matches on the pre-show. So, all right, Jeff, I believe all we have left is favorite moments of the week.
That is correct. Favorite moments of the week. So get your 3, 2s, and 1s ready because we're about to talk about ours. So, yeah.
Absolutely, guys. Get them all set to go. We're going to go in order. We're going to go 3s. We're going to go 2s. We're going to go 1s. So, what are yours? I know you all have favorite moments that happened in wrestling this week, as we. Start naming them in the chat. Give me your number 3s right now. And Jeff, what is your number 3 moment of the week?
Oh, man. My number 3 is seeing AJ Styles and Io Sky wrestling in Japan. And it's not at all a WWE event. I love that. As much time as AJ spent in Japan and all of that, seeing him back there and having a great match, for me, it just shows how much times have changed. So that's my number 3.
That's a great one. Yeah, love it. My number 3, and I will always go here with a top moment of the week for me. Rosemary's back, baby. I marked out as soon as I saw her come out. I'm like, yes, she looks freaking amazing too. I don't know what they're doing, whether they ever wearing red contacts, but holy shit, she looks awesome. Man, I'm so glad she's back. Jeff has gotten me a Rosemary t-shirt back from that thing a couple of years ago that he went to that I couldn't make it to. I am now going to be able to wear it proudly on the shows, which I'm excited for. But man, you guys know what a fan I am of hers. The fact that she came back, and I know she's going to answer that question like Jeff mentioned earlier, and she's going to take out Ash by whatever she wants to call herself and stop her from winning that title, which is amazing. Maybe even Havoc shows back up too. I don't know, but it's going to be a sad night for Ash by Elegance on that night because Rosemary's got her targeted, and I love seeing her back. I know a lot of fans did too. A lot of people were saying, "Where's Rosemary? Where's Rosemary?" She hadn't been around, and then she just popped back up. So I love it. One of my favorite characters in all of wrestling, and I'd love to see that she is back. So, all right, let's see what your number threes are here, guys. Rascals Reunion is James Chadwick. James Grant says Jacob Fatu destroying everybody. Trick and Joe Hendry versus Sean and Ethan. The Rascals reuniting. Liv and Dom freakiness. 3 Rascals and B. You have an A and a B. So Deanna has an A and a B. Rascals reunion and AJ and Io in Japan. My number 3 was a tie. Joe Hendry and the reunion of the Rascals on NXT. Top 3 moment would probably be Joe Hendry showing up. 3 Trick and Joe versus Sean and Ethan. Joe Hendry made an event appearance this past Tuesday in NXT, says Damien. 3 for me is Rosemary's return as well. Tony says, I agree, seeing AJ Styles and Io Sky have their dream match in Japan was one of the most rewarding moments in WWE. Marigold and professional wrestling. Noah. Number 3, featuring Joe Hendry and the Rascals and TNA. Slammiversary, says Conrad. How the Bloodsport card is shaping up is his number 3. Clown. All right, so there you go. Let's roll on to number 2. Jeff, right. What is your number 2?
My number 2 has something to do with a certain group that likes to have fun in the treehouse, and that's seeing the Rascals reunited, and it feels so good on NXT. So that was a great moment. Really enjoyed that. Wow, just tremendous. So that was my number 2.
And my number 2 is going to be really quick because it's exactly the same. My number 2 is also the Rascals reunion. It was so cool to see that, how it was done in an NXT ring. Again, something 3 years ago, 2 years ago, we would never thought would ever happen. They all went their separate ways. Well, one went his separate ways from the other, and we never thought this would come about. And now, like Jeff was saying, do we see a treehouse? Oh my God, it would be amazing if we do.
Get Shawn Michaels in the treehouse for goodness sake,
man. On NXT yet, of all things, do we see a treehouse segment? I am all in on that. Let's go. I love it. I love seeing those 3 back together again. We remember, Jeff and I remember when they left and how they left and how sad it was seeing them go. But man, this is great. I absolutely love this, and it's wonderful. Really, really cool. So that is also my number 2. All right, let's see what we have for 2s here. Ethan becoming the next NXT champion, or becoming NXT champion. Io Sky and AJ wrestling in Japan is James Grant's. The Wyatt Six's VHS tape for the week. Okay. My number 2 would be the Bloodline segment on SmackDown. Rhea's return is Deanna's number 2 and Jacob on SmackDown. My number 2 is the return of Mommy, a.k.a. Rhea Ripley, says Brandon. A.B. Jobson says Joe Hendry being on NXT. Rhea's return is number 2 for John G as well. Mariah, his heel turn on Tony Storm is Swag Fans number 2. Damien says Tony Storm and Mariah May segment on Dynamite. Bonus Baby saying number 2, again, shouting out Sean Spears for being a pro and eating the pin to Joe Hendry on NXT. And props to Trick for also taking a step back for it. And then Brandon says number 2 is the Hardy Boys. So there you go. All right. We are at our number 1s. Number 1s. It's going to be a hard one. I may have a couple for mine. I may have an A and a B. I think. I might have one of those. Conrad says number 2 is return of Rhea Ripley. So he got his number 2 in. All right, man. It is that time. Give us your number 1 moment of the week in wrestling that was, and we will do the same. Jeff, what do you got for your number 1?
So my number 1 is the ending that we got on AEW Dynamite. Mariah May, Tony Storm. The brutality, and to steal Tazzy's gimmick here, the psychology.
Yep.
Was just tremendous. And seeing them end off that way and anticipating what's going to happen, because I mean, if we started out that brutally, what are we gonna get? So my number one is that moment from AEW Dynamite. Kudos to Mariah May. Kudos to Tony Storm, and kudos to Tony Khan
Yeah.
for booking that. So, yeah.
Yep. I am going with an A and a B. My A is the same as Jeff's. I can't deny that. I got to watch the ending. I usually don't see AEW shows much, but I got to see that, and it was a piece of art. It was really done extremely well. I can't say enough about it. We talked so much about it during this show. Was an unbelievable ending to that show and an unbelievable moment for them. It was getting talked about by Bully does a Busted Open show right after that. He talked about it, and then it was talked about the next day on Busted Open and many, many other places. That is my 1A. My 1B, a little different. My 1B is part of the Wyatt 6 thing, and it's the ending when Bo was sitting in Postman Pierce's office. That really sent that over. And I know I talked about it on our show last week that we did for the Fireflies Forever, but that kind of sent that to another level for me, because now you're messing with, you have reality there. It's no longer just these people on a video. It's no longer just Uncle Howdy talking to Bo in a video in a funhouse. Now it's real life. Bo is there physically. And where does that go? What was he saying to Adam Pearce after the door closed? This is where it's converting that story from just supernatural stuff into reality, and that's what I wanted to see. So I love that, and I think this is only getting better. We know we're going to get something with Eric Rowan this week, which is going to be a harsh dose of reality, guys. It is going to be hard to watch that. I know it is, just because of the emotion that he's going to have, which is going to be very real. So that is going to be very difficult to watch and hit home with a lot of people. But yeah, there you go. All right, let's see what we got for number one. Stephanie signed to WWE. Didn't expect it. Rhea's return back on Raw and the Wyatt 6 video. James says Mariah May turning on Tony Storm. Same with Conrad. Alexa Bliss teasing her return. NXT TNA said Brandon Wayne Lewis. Mariah May turning on and leaving the Timeless One bloody, says Brandon. The Rascals reunion and the Rhea Ripley return, says Sapphire. Number one is the heel turn. Bonus baby Mariah May heel turn with a literal high heel. Rhea returns. Hendry wins on NXT. Rascals reunite. All three number ones. A Rascal reunited and Alexa Bliss teased her return. Tony, my number one moment, the return of Rhea Bloody Ripley. Deanna says 1A, Ethan Page is NXT champ. B, Joe Hendry on NXT, and 3, Mariah heel turn. Yeah, let's not forget about Ethan. We love Ethan Page. We have since we watched him when he was tag teaming with Josh. He had a huge moment in his career, won a title, and this guy he's worked for everything he's gotten. And now he's on top of the world in NXT, which well deserved. I've watched his videos, I've watched his toy hunts that he does. He just seems like a genuinely great guy, and I think it's well deserved for him. He's also he's a body guy. He keeps himself fit, and yeah, I love the fact that Ethan got that championship. So. Love it. Joe Hendry on NXT and Mariah's heel turn. Return of Rhea Bloody Ripley, says Damien. I like seeing Seth and Will have a good exchange of words with guys known for their mic skills.
Derek, I was going to bring that up because honestly, as soon as Nia Jax said that, all I had in my head was the BBL Drizzy beat from Metro. So that's all I could think about. But, there's a lot of things I can say about that, and I'm not going to talk about on stream. So
that was a good one. Yeah,
it was good though.
During a Mexico City, Mexico WWE Live event, I believe yesterday, Liv called Dom her Poppy. So there's another metaphoric bullet in the chamber for this feud. What if Howdy sent Pierce a letter? Watch for the shoe. Tied for number one, Stephanie Vacker makes her untelevised WWE debut. My number one, BBL Bailey. There you go. I find Ethan Page annoying. Okay, all right. Not everybody's gonna like everybody. It's fine. His character can be for sure. That's his character that he plays. That's who he is. Truth about Ethan, sometimes he gets overlooked. He's really good. I agree. He was great in the tag. Those tag team feuds to this day, with Motor City Machine Guns and the North. Oh my God. This is some of the best tag team wrestling I've ever seen. Some of the best I've ever seen. Egon is friends of Danhausen, so let's go. James says BBL. Laugh. Love BBL. All right, guys. Well, there you have it. A jam-packed episode. We went all the way to 11 tonight because we had a ton to talk about. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Sorry about the people on Twitter. We're going to have to look into that and see what's going on. If I have to do that, I'll have to do it. I don't want the poor people on Twitter not to ever be able to watch. So if we have to suck it up and give in to Elon, then whatever, we'll have to do it. So, but yeah, thank you all for coming out. We appreciate all of you being here with us for this show. Jeff and I always have a blast doing this show. It's one of our favorite things to do. We just wish we got to do it a lot more than we do, but things happen. So yeah, before we say goodbye, of course, come and join us for our schedule for this upcoming week. On Tuesday will be the next time we'll be on, and that's 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Fireflies Forever, where we will cover everything that goes on with tomorrow's video, the Eric Rowan tape, it looks like, and whatever else happens there. We'll talk about all that on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Then we'll be back on Thursday for TNA, the Go Home show for Slammiversary. Don't miss that. You guys know how good those Go Home shows are. That is going to be at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time for that. And then, of course, it caps all off on next Saturday. Going to join us at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Slammiversary. So there you have it, guys. That is going to do it for Jeff and for myself tonight. Thank you all for coming out. We appreciate all of you. Please stay safe. Be kind to one another always. Don't ever say the B word around me ever again. And we'll see you all on our next show. Have a great night, guys, and we'll talk to you all soon.